Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to show you how to do the random assignment simulation as part of Activity 2 in Google Sheets. So first what you need to do is go to my Google Sheet that says Activity 2, go to Sheet 1, and then open up your own Google Sheet, your own blank Google Sheet, and then copy and paste my Sheet 1 into your Sheet 1. So this will now be Sheet 1 of your Google Sheet. After that, what you do is go over here to where it says sugar group, participant ID, and then enter equals B2. After you enter equals B2, press enter right here, and it'll say person 1. And this is just referring back to where it says person 1 over here. So after you type in equals B2 right here, drag down, and it should say person 1 to person 8, which is just referring back to these 8 cells over here, person 1 to person 8. After that, highlight this entire column right here. Go to this bottom right corner and drag it across, and fill in all of the information for the sugar group. And now this is just what you've done is you just basically copied and pasted all of the information for the first 8 participants, all of their traits and characteristics. And make sure when you highlight each of these boxes right here, make sure that up here that it refers back to a cell number like E5, and it doesn't just say the value like 4. After you do that, go down here to the first participant ID in the no sugar group, and type in equals B10. And when you do this, it'll give you the ID of the 9th person over here. It just refers back to this cell B10. And after that, what you do is you just click right here, drag down to where it says, and it should give you all of these ID numbers, and make sure that each one refers back to a certain cell from the left side of the page. After that, highlight all of these cells from person 9 to 16. Go right here to this bottom right corner and drag across. And you'll get all of the information for the no sugar group. So these are just all of the values for the for the last 8 people on the bottom half of the left side. And now what you do, once these 2 groups have been completed, is you actually go back to the left side, and you're going to randomly assign the participants so that these 8 people actually become a random group of 8, and these other ones become a random group of 8. So let's do that. So let's go over here, and here we just type in equals RAND like this, and press enter, and it'll give you a random number between 0 and 1. After that, hover above the bottom right like this, drag down, and each one will be a random number between 0 and 1. Once that's done, what you do is click on A2 right there and highlight everything over here to K17, which means you're highlighting pretty much everything except for these column titles. You're highlighting the entire left side of the page except for the column titles. Once you do that, go to Data, go to sort range, and then sort by column A from A to Z. And after that, over here, you'll see that this is no longer person 1 to person 8, and this is no longer just persons 9 to 16. You've now randomly assigned the 16 people to two groups, sugar and no sugar. And what you need to do now is just calculate the mean of the sugar group for all of the variables, and then calculate the mean of the no sugar group for all of the variables. So right here, in N11, paste equals average. That's what Excel wants to calculate. Well, you use to calculate the mean in Google Sheets. Press enter. Well, I'm sorry, actually you need to type in equals average, and then, let's see, N. Well, you could either type it in, or you could highlight. I'm sorry, actually you don't do it right here, because that's the ID number. We don't need the mean of the ID numbers. So actually go over to N11 and type in equals average and press enter. And then what you do is you highlight the entire column right here. And what it should end up saying is equals average N3 colon N10, and then put the right parentheses there to close it off, and press enter. And you'll have the average of the hours of sleep column. And you actually could just go straight to N11 and directly type in equals average N3 colon N10, like I mentioned in the directions, and then press enter, and you'll get the mean. It's just the mean of everything from N3 up to N10, this range right there. And then what you do now is you hover at this bottom right corner, drag across, and you'll get the mean of every characteristic for the sugar group. Then what you do is you go down here to N23, and once again, type in equals average, and then put the right parentheses right there. I'm sorry, the left parentheses. Then highlight the column. I'm sorry, all of the values, and not the column title, and it'll just say N15 colon N22, and then press the right parentheses to close the parentheses, and you'll get the mean of everything from N15 to N22 by just pressing enter. And now you can just click on it, hover on the bottom right corner, and drag it across. And it'll do all of them all at once, like this. And you'll get the mean of every column for the no sugar group. And after that, you're done with this simulation. All you have to do is just look at these means you've calculated and compare them to see how similar the groups are. For example, here I see that the mean hours of sleep for sugar group is 5, and the mean hours of sleep for no sugar group is a 4, which is fairly close. And just keep comparing them. Compare the two means, one characteristic at a time, going from left to right. In sheet number 2, now move over to sheet number 2 and copy it and paste it into your sheet 2, so it's now sheet 2 of your Google Sheet. And now you'll be randomly assigning 4 people to sugar and no sugar. So what you do over here is you just, once again, type in equals B2 for the first participant ID for the sugar group. then press enter, and it'll say person 1 again, just referring back to the cell over there. Then click it, drag down, and now this is just the 2 cells from over here, because this is referring back to B3. Highlight all of this, drag across, until it fills it again. And then do the same thing over here. But this time, let's see, you're going to be using B4 for person 3. So over here, for the go to this box right here, and type in equals B4, then drag it down, then drag it across to the right, like you just did, and now you'll get all the information for the for person 3 and person 4 into this light red area. So you're doing the same thing you did up here, just with a different starting point. Now you type in equals B. I'm sorry, let me go back over here one more time. You type in equals B4, because that's what this is, B4. So over here, type in equals B4, and it'll say person 3 inside the cell. Drag it down, and it'll say person 3 and person 4. Highlight the entire column, like this, and then drag it all across, and you'll fill all the red cells. And then after that, just do the same thing you did last time. Go up here, type in equals RAND, drag it down until these 4 are all filled, and until you have 4 random numbers. Then once again, highlight everything from A2 over to the bottom right of the blue area, which is right here. And then once again, go to Data, go to Sort Range, and when you get to Sort Range, here, just say Sort by column A from A to Z, click Sort, and it's randomly assigned. And now, instead of saying person 1 and person 2, it'll say, and it'll just say 2 random people, like let's say maybe 2 and 4, or maybe 1 and 4. And this will also be 2 random people, like let's say could be 1 and 4, 2 and 3, 3 and 4, depending on how the randomness ends up going. And then you're done, and you just once again calculate. Go here, type in equals average, left parentheses, and it should type in equals average, left parentheses, then M3 colon M4 to get the range, right parentheses, press enter, and you get the mean. Then drag it across to get all of the means. Then over here, type in, once again, equals average, left parentheses, and either enter the range, which in this case would be, I guess, M9 colon M10, and then right parentheses enter, or just highlight the range like you saw me do earlier. Then over here, hover at this little box, drag it across, and you'll get the mean of everything for the no sugar group. Now I'm showing you the Acture app, which is for parts 3 and 4 of activity 2. The Google Sheet was for parts 1 and 2, and I've already shown that to you, how to do that. So now what you do is here, we're going to simulate an experiment in which a group of people takes sugar and completes a recall test, and another group consumes no sugar and takes a recall test. It's going to be, and here we can set the number of participants to a certain number for our simulation, and it's going to be a simulated experiment. So what I want you to do for part 3 is set this to 6 for 6 participants, And these are the characteristics of your participants, of the 6 people, how distracted they are, how much sleep they've had, and so on. Don't worry about this for this activity. But what you need to do is set, in this case, the treatment each. You're having a treated group and a no treated group. And in this experiment, the treatment is sugar. So one group gets sugar, one group gets no sugar. And what you need to do is set the effect of the sugar treatment, the effect that it will have on recall in the simulation. And you can pick any number you like, except for the question mark. Don't do that one. So it could be 0, 1, 3, 5, 10, depending on how strong of an effect you want it to have. And I actually tell you that you can pick any one you want. So let's say I pick 3. What this means is that each person in the sugar group will earn 3 points to their recall score, simply because they've had the sugar. Sugar will help them by that much. Now what I do is I click Generate after setting the treatment effect. And what I get is what each person's recall score would be if they don't get the treatment. So this is what their score will be if they go to the no treatment group and don't get the sugar. And each one is just based on the participant characteristics. For example, this person got a score of 28% on the recall test, and that's just because, notice how person 1 has only had 3 hours of sleep. So it's generated based on just personal reasons or characteristics. And then what you do after clicking Generate is click Randomize. This will randomly assign the 6 people to 2 groups of 3. These 3 people got the sugar treatment, 2, 3, and 6. These 3 people didn't get the sugar, 1, 4, and 5, and these are their recall scores. And let's look at person 2. Notice how without the treatment, their score is 41.16. But with the treatment,